Right, people. He's a name I haven't heard of for a few, yeah. And then when I seen you were touring this show, I thought, oh, I've got to get you on the show. We have Matt Miller with us, who is the
Hello.
creator and star of.
Fixing. Fixing's a drag show about fixing cars and family relationships. So we have Natalie Spanner, who is a fabulous, friendly drag act. And she's a mechanic. So she's teaching the audience a class in car mechanics, but also self-care. She's really into like self-care. So she calls it holistic car care, going on a journey together. But then it's also a show about my dad. So that's sort of where the show started. So my dad used to have a classic car, which we sort of never did up together. And it's looking at the time, around the time just after him and my mum divorced, when I was about 8, which is sort of when I felt closest to my dad. And it's a time I've always kind of been fascinated with. So yeah, I wanted to explore that time and that car and the idea of fixing cars. And then I'm not quite sure how it ended up being a drag show as well. But Natalie's become a bit of like a self-help figure for me as well, I guess. We worked with a psychologist in development, and he was telling us about another psychologist called Neville Symington, who has this idea of internal life giver. So, like a version of yourself that enables you to do something like fix your relationship with your father. And that's kind of been Natalie for me, and we hope that's what Natalie kind of does for the audience as well.
I feel, that's really interesting because I mean, obviously, like it's a long time since I've seen you. I'm in the second year of a social work degree now, and I
I
understand
know, that's great. That's so
crazy.
exciting.
I'm 60-year-old this year, Matt. It's like our thinking is just keep the
Congratulations.
brain working, you keep yourself going. Our
Oh,
day would be different on
absolutely.
me. I have no doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it was probably about 2019 I was last on. I think that's when
Just
we were doing the
yeah,
last show.
it was before COVID.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
before COVID for
I know.
certain. That thing about Natalie, and like I can see something there, like from I do a lot of like supported self-reflection in areas, and you see a lot of people who can be stuck in areas to use it to like being stuck in the wrong gear, so the engine's
Mm,
just racing almost, if you will.
mm.
And I feel as if when you're able to objectify it, so like maybe Miss Spanner is the lens which can be examined, which isn't too close to within, because
Mm.
when we're inside of ourselves, you can't really see the way.
Yeah,
Whereas if you were to take the inside out and examine it, then
yeah.
then you can see the moving parts, which absolutely fits in with the mechanics as
Yeah,
well, I
I think
imagine.
that's absolutely it. Yeah, I think like Natalie does serve as that external point of view, like for the audience as well. So, because a lot of certainly the beginning of the show, I mean, my dad after that divorce was probably at a pretty low point, like he was
Hmm.
living in a sort of clustered house,
It's a massive thing. Divorce
cluttered
is a
household.
massive event.
Yeah, no,
It's like throwing a
absolutely.
hand. It's like throwing a hand grenade, and it affects a
Yeah,
lot of people. It really
yeah.
does.
But from my point of view, when I was 8, it was adventure. Like it was like dad was really available. Like he was sleeping on a air mattress in the living room, but it was
Hmm.
fun and we'd go around and have fish and chips. So you sort of see all of that through 8-year-old Matt's view.
Yeah, sorry,
She's
come
a
on.
lot of fun and she's teaching our class, but she's kind of yeah, she's that external viewpoint for
Keeping it
as well.
real, we would feel absolutely devastated
Mm.
as children. We would want them to stay together at all costs and make it work. And I think like a children's view of a parent's divorce is a really unique and very
Yeah.
sensitive, because there's a lot going on. Because I feel even if we think like like making the best of it, exciting times and stuff like that, and doing this and that, but it's still against that backdrop of the detachment,
Mm. But I
and
mean,
like
yeah, no, for sure. And like, there's definitely like when I've had counseling through my life, there was a point at which I thought, oh, that's just a thing that happened in the past that I'm over. And then I've
exactly
sort of more
same
and
as
more been
me.
like, oh, there's
Disregard it,
like
yeah,
loads of
because
stuff that I've
everybody has
got.
it. Yeah, it's just the
Yeah,
thing.
and there's
Yeah.
loads of stuff that I've got that comes from that divorce. But I mean, there's a bit in the show where I'm sort of talking about kind of my own sort of thoughts about maybe wanting to have kids um, and thinking about the divorce. And like, I mean, what we say in the show is all of the memories I have of mum and dad before they broke up or of them arguing. And I think breaking up was the best thing that they
Yeah.
could have done when they did. Like, I don't believe in staying together for the kids. So there is that as well. And I stand by that, and obviously everyone's got a different journey. And
Absolutely agree with you on that
yeah,
point. I think my perception was coming from being brought up in the 1960s.
yeah, no, absolutely. And this is
A
really
different world,
interesting. I think it's
different world.
completely different
Nowadays,
time. Yeah, yeah.
I'd be paying for an Uber to get someone out. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that's really, really interesting with the show. Like, because I'd like to think my dad comes off quite well in the show. Like, he's not
mm,
a bad guy at all. He's never been a violent guy. It's just like a bit of
yeah,
absence. I do. Part of me wonders whether actually the bit that's different from most people's relationship with their dad is that I did have that year or so where he felt really close and accessible and available.
yeah.
I think like that's possibly the bit that's unusual.
You would see
So,
more,
you
yeah,
know,
because
um,
in a family setup, often the dads are a little bit detached because they're off doing the work and that, and they don't have to make that effort.
but I think it's generational. So
Yeah,
like my dad was quite distant from his dad, and like
yeah,
I'm really
same,
interested in this
same.
as well in terms of whether this is the thing that gets better generation after generation, or whether like I'm very aware as well that like I'm of a generation that's raised by people who were raised by people who lived through a war,
Yeah.
like like an actual home soil war, and like that sort of generational sort of trauma effect has got to have like an effect on like emotional availability and distance as
Well,
well, I
yeah,
think.
we understand now, don't we? Adverse childhood experiences shape every person on the planet pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, in one way or another. It's like it's called ACE, you know, like the theory about it. And because we're all triggers from different things and everything comes from within ourselves at some point. And
Mm, mm.
I'm ended up getting a therapy session here from you, Matt. Let's get
No, no,
back
no.
to the
But I
show.
think it's really interesting. But I mean, like to cycle back as well. I think because the psychologist we work with is a guy called Dr. Gray Music. He's got a book called Respark, where we started reading his book after we'd started making the show, and he's using the same analogies, talking about cars and spark plugs and engines
Mm.
misfiring and stalling. So I think it's really kind of it's really rife for those analogies
I think it's a
and
brilliant
lots of
concept, and
innuendos as well for the
I think the whole journey because it's pretty much looking at how people navigate life
Mm.
from
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
think like packaging it as that would have people thinking, well, it's a subjective thing. It's everyone's different. But when
Mm,
you take it to the car, I mean, okay, you might have better cars and lesser cars and all
mm,
this, that, and
mm.
the other. But ultimately, it's about the mechanics of how the engine works,
Yeah, it's sort of making
and that's
something
something a bit more
abstract, something
universal,
concrete,
isn't
isn't
it?
it? Yeah,
More
yeah, yeah.
people can like get something from that maybe.
It's a way in, a kind of talking about stuff that's not so concrete. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely.
How about yourself? 'Cause I think the last time I seen you, you work, and I know you're like me. You're a theatre person.
Yeah,
I'm just a really old theatre kid. Me, I'm waiting to do a Miss Flash mob.
yeah.
but
It'll
but
happen.
it will happen. It will happen before I die. It'll
No
happen. I
doubt.
am in Rolas. One more day before the storm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so tell us a little bit about your journey in the arts.
My journey in the arts. Well, this is the third show that I've made with Peda Kirk, who co-created this show and the previous two. So we now have the verb trilogy because we did sticking and then fitting, and now we've got fixing.
Yes.
That's been quite a nice journey. So met Peda through. So out of uni. I sort of graduated a creative writing degree in Nottingham, and then got a commission through BBC Radio 3. It's a thing they had called Verb New Voices, which was to write a radio poem for the Verb on Radio 3. And then sort of halfway through that program, I think New Writing North it was New Writing North had put some money in. So New Writing North had put some money in to add like a theatre making strand to this development scheme. So and that sort of just got sort of sprung on us. So they brought in two directors. So it was Matt Fenton, who was at Contact Theatre in Manchester at the time, and Peder Kirk. And they sort of, yeah, me and Peder sort of naturally paired up. And yeah, that was like 10, 11 years ago now. So
You don't look
we've
old enough.
been
You don't look old enough.
I was, to be
Like,
fair, I was very young at the time. I was probably about 22, 23 when me and
isn't it
Peder
brilliant
met.
though to be able to work in the area of your passion?
Yeah, it is great. I really I feel very lucky. I've had some lucky breaks. I mean, whenever I kind of and the sort of rare occasion I get asked to kind of talk about any sort of giving advice on getting into the arts, I think like it is luck, but it's also you
Perseverance.
make your own luck. You just apply for loads of stuff, and
You've got to keep showing up. You've got to keep
yeah,
showing
things
up.
lead to things, and things that don't lead anywhere. Kind of 5, 10 years down the line, circuitously create some other opportunity. So, like,
Absolutely.
for that application I got for the BBC thing, I'd been in a poetry collective in Nottingham called the Mouthy Poets, and that was run by a brilliant poet and person called Debris Stevenson, and she had been one of the Verve New Voices a couple of years before. So when I was applying, she sent me her application so I could kind of see what she'd written and what had worked. So do you know what I mean? So it's kind of being in and around stuff
Hmm.
helped, I guess. But yeah, so like was what got us like back into theatre. Like I was a theatre kid as well, growing up, like all the school musicals and that.
Yeah.
And then I kind of pivoted towards performance poetry and spoken word in uni because I'd always been writing as well, and that sort of like married the two. And like, I think this is another trick, and I think this is worth saying, is that you can, particularly when you're younger, get into this mindset where you've got to pick and you've got to be one thing. So I was always having this tuss of like, oh, do I want to be a poet or an actor or a writer?
Hmm.
Like those things were like you're choosing between being like a doctor and an astronaut or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, um, and then yeah, sort of yeah. So the working with Peda kind of theatre came back in through the back door, and sort of all those different things have sort of knitted together. And yeah, it's sort of a bit of everything. I mean, it's a lot of admin and
When you're looking at the area that you want to work in, it's a creative art. So the key is you've got to be creative.
yeah,
And that means
yeah,
you've got to show up, not just not you've got to show up for yourself,
yeah,
but you've
yeah.
also got to show up for your art as well. And like, and I see
I
you
think
kicking. I see
that's
what you do.
yeah,
I
that's
see
a
you
really
kicking
good
around.
point. And it's really easy to lose that balance. I've had this a bit recently because I produce the tour as well, so it ends up being a lot of admin work. And there was a point back last month where me and Peder managed to get a couple of kind of re-rehearsal days on the show, and I just felt like my shoulders kind of relaxed, and I was like, oh my God, this is the first time in ages I've been able
Mm.
to like commit to just thinking about the art and the
Yeah.
creativity without having to think about booking vans and all the rest of it. So it is always a tussle, but I think I think it's easy to I think you get tricked into thinking that the creative bit isn't like proper work, and I think it's easy
Yeah.
to undervalue that. And I think yeah, it's important to
Without the creative bit, there is no show.
well, this
So
is it. Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah, is a good reminder from time to time to kind of like carve out time for creativity. But then
and
also that being said, it's tricky with that as well because I do think a little bit it arrives when it arrives. Like you've got,
serendipity.
yeah, but you,
Yeah.
it's tricky because there's the thing. I forget who the quote's by. I think it was one of the old French poets or something that like.
One of
Inspiration
the
is
old
arriving
French
at your desk.
poets.
Yeah, I can't remember. But there's a quote, there's something along the lines of inspiration is arriving at your desk at 9 in the morning every day. And I think there is something in that like discipline. But particularly with writing, I think it could be really easy to forget that you need to warm up. Do you know what I mean?
That's
Because
really
it's like you just sat there
yeah.
on a laptop. Like I would never go into a rehearsal still in my dressing gown and expect to do good work. And do you
That's,
know what I mean? I think it's yeah, oh, it's
I'll tell
tricky.
you
But then
why.
sometimes I wake up and I just start straight away, and it's like yeah, it's
I'll tell you why this feels it really, really chimes with me what you've just said there, Matt. Because I'm working on this sort of like I did this training, and
Mm.
and there's this thing called calendaring, and
Yeah.
and you've got these. So you've got 7 days: morning, noon, evening, and night. And what you've got to do is you've got to actually actively recognize when you're showing yourself some love, and that's
Mm,
by
mm,
giving
mm.
yourself time to do this, and this. But
Yeah.
but because of me being me, I've expanded on the idea to help build a platform for structure for people
Nice.
with chaotic personalities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because I can't fill a journal in for my life, but I can do calendaring.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. It's about being in that space and being in that place and knowing where you are. So I want to get back into yoga.
Yeah.
In 2020 autumn, I discovered yoga. I lost 4 stone in 4 months, and I got my surgery in early 2021. And then
Oh,
once I got my surgery, the aim wasn't there, so I stopped doing yoga.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
now, like I'm bigger than I was before, so now I know you need to get back. So I think, well, I need to do yoga, but I'm not going to get back into doing yoga full time. So what I do is I look at my calendar and I commit to doing it one morning a week for half an hour
Mm, mm,
and
mm.
commit to that. So
Yeah,
I'm going to be there, and I know once I do that, then it's back in the game,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it can expand from there. And it's about having that knowledge of knowing where you are and what you're doing. So it's
yeah.
absolutely right about actually showing up and being there for everything because you learn so much more. When's this on? I know it's not. You're on 2 now at the minute, aren't you? Thanks for finding the time to have a chat with me.
No, no, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, we're
Where are you?
touring
Where are
now.
you at the minute?
Oh well, I'm in my house in Nottingham at the minute. We're between shows, but we were in Luton last night. We had a show in Luton last night. We did a lovely makeup workshop, drag makeup workshop on
Oh
Luton
wow.
in Luton on Wednesday as well. So I've got there's a drag artist down here in Nottingham called Nana Art Tool, who's been like me drag auntie.
Hmm.
So yeah, she runs a makeup workshop with us. So that was really lovely. Yeah, so had a nice show in Luton last night. We're in Wakefield. We were in Wakefield on Monday. So we've sort of just started the kind of spring leg of the tour, and then we're coming to the ARC in Stockton, March the
On the
7th, ARC
CVFM page.
Stockton. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what can people expect when they come to the show? Is it music? Is it chat? Is it bit of
So we
everything?
found that Natalie is a bit of a rockabilly fan, so there's a bit of rockabilly music as you come in. Um, uh, and then it's loads of fun. It's really like certainly to begin with, really fun, really silly, audience participation. Natalie's teaching a class, you can get up, get involved in things. Um, Natalie's like we've modelled her more on like sort of the old school queen. She's a bit Dame Edna, like a little bit Lily Savage. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
there's a friendliness to her. She's not like super fierce and
I
like the
think how you've I
innuendo.
think how you've designed her is that because you like the
Yeah,
hair that's very it's almost like it's not like out there where you see the drag queens with the big hair. It's all
yeah.
very
Well,
it
I
fits
mean,
in. Yeah.
partly the practicality of that is like I also need to look like me as an 8-year-old when I take the wig off. So I'm kind of skipping between the two characters. So again, we worked with Tom with
Yeah,
Nana
yeah.
to find that look that kind of with the wig, and we've got this fabulous boiler suit with like sequins on it and
I
like
think the
big
optics are
platform yellow
great. I think the
heels.
optics are great from what I've seen.
Oh, thanks. Oh, appreciate it. But yeah, so we found a look that kind of works for both. But yeah, like, but it was interesting finding Natalie as well. Like, it's a bit like, when people who write novels talk about their characters kind of running
Yeah.
away, which I just thought would be really magical. And Natalie did that a bit. Like, we thought she'd be like dead into all the innuendos and that, but she's actually there's an innocence to her. She's got a little bit of a Dory thing going on.
Hmm.
But she's kind. That's her. She wants to help and she
Yeah.
wants to care is like our main sort of thing. So it's interesting, like exploring that. But she's still teasing the audience. There's definitely plenty sort of innuendo there. You can play with dipsticks and all the rest of it. And then it takes a bit of a darker turn as well. It becomes about dealing with trauma and relationships and how we fix those. Like the shows me and Pedaway make, we want it to be my stories, but like make them universal. So
Hmm.
it's my story of that time with my dad, but we want it to be about um, a universal experience of maintaining and fixing relationships. So like we've had people after the show saying like, oh, I want to give me dad a ring now, which has been really nice. But also people saying like, I know more about how to fix my car now. So I think it kind of does it. Hopefully it does both.
I think it's great. I will call it. So is it pay as you go or is it set prices? What's the score with it?
Oh, good question. I should have that to hand. Let me find out for you. Well, so I'll tell you while I'm looking for that. If you go to mattmillertheatre.com, you'll be able to find all of uh, the tour ticket links there.
Nice one.
And ARC is in there, which is what I'm just looking at right now, so I can find the
So you're
prices
testing
for
you're
you.
testing the concept. You're
Yeah,
testing the
well, I know,
machine.
yeah. It's pay what you decide. There we go. Lovely. Yeah. So
I
you can
love
come
that,
along.
because some
Yeah.
people, I mean, like obviously, I feel in the ARC Stockton as well. There's a good amount of people who like to support,
Yeah.
and in that way, if they do want to support, and if they can afford it, they can put in a bit extra. But
Yeah. Yeah.
also people there who are genuinely on a really tight budget, they're not being excluded. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No,
I
I,
think
th I
I
think
think the
pay what you
ARC's really
decide is
nice like
brilliant.
that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think
You
I think it's
know,
really good. And I think like a few venues do it and it seems to work. I think people who can pay more do pay a bit more. Like
they really do. They really
I mean,
do.
I
If
do
you can
like when I'm
afford it,
feeling
why not?
flush, like obviously being freelance, it's up and down. If I've got a bit of funding in my pocket or whatever, I pay a bit more for pay what you decide shows. And then when
No,
I'm
I,
struggling to pay
from
the
another
rent, I'll pay a
freelancer, I
bit
feel
less.
you, my friend. I feel you. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a what was it? Say? Times are hard and friends are few.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, Ark's
But
lovely. It's going to be so lush to be back there. Like
do you
with
know
yeah,
which?
we've
Do you know
done.
which theatre you're in?
We're in the studio, so
Oh,
the
yeah,
up
nice.
on the top. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean.
So it is on the third floor, people, but there is a lift, and the
There is a
lift is fully
lift.
accessible. You can get
Yeah,
electric wheelchairs in there and everything. I know because I've done it. Do you
nice.
know what I
Good, good,
mean?
good.
We have people come to choir who's been electric wheelchairs, and
Oh,
like
brilliant.
you can get up to the studio theatre, even though
Good.
it's on the third floor. Don't worry about that, people. I would suggest that you contact the ARC to book your tickets because if you get in touch and think on the day, oh, I'll go, there may not be any tickets.
There are a few. Yeah, it's starting to go. So yeah,
Well,
yeah. I will,
I've got my choir, haven't I? So I'm going to be having a word with them and see if we can get a little posse there as
oh,
well.
do that would be
You know what I mean?
fabulous.
Because
It's nice
we're
as
all
well. It's such a nice atmosphere in the show when there's like we've had a couple like that where there's like little groups along and people who know each other because it is so interactive and
yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of it is about bringing the audience together anyway. So when they've
We
got
are
those
likely to be singing along with your songs though, because we can't help ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We're good to get a sing along going.
fab,
Well,
fab, fab,
listen,
fab.
thank you very much. I really, really appreciate. And it's been much too long. It's been
Do you
much
want
too
do you want me
long.
song?
I'll have to put you on my radar just to check what you're doing.
Oh, to be
Because
fair, this is probably the first thing I've done since the last one. This show's been a long time in the making. Like as with a lot of people, I think lockdown kind of hit us for six a bit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we
Are you getting it
finished touring
filmed?
that last show just after lockdown, and then I've sort of been making this one on and off since.
Are you
So
having it filmed? Because what I'm thinking with you having the trilogy, you could that could be combined into a bit of a
yeah, no, I'd like to do something because
like
we
a
do
journey.
have films of the previous two. So yeah, I think for the shows in Newcastle, which is in 2 weeks, we're getting one of them filmed.
Nice one. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, look,
Um,
thank you very much. All that's left for me to do is to ask, because we always like to play a song for our guests, but not a song that you like. I like to dig a bit deeper. So, like, I was a big Ali McBeal fan back in the day, and the
uh,
concept of having a theme tune it resonates with me. So, I would like, and I know I asked you at the beginning of the interview before we started recording. So, I hope you have a song for me
can I
that
give you can
we
I give
can
you
play.
Natalie's theme tune?
You can indeed.
So we said she likes rockabilly music. This is one you'll hear plenty times through the show. I will have Brand New Cadillac, and we'll have the original. We'll have the Vince Taylor version. You'll hear various versions of it in the show, but yeah, we could have a Brand New Cadillac by Vince Taylor.
That will go out as soon at the end of the interview. You can actually introduce it at the end of the interview before we're done. But I'm not going to let you off that easily, though, Matt, because you've heard there. You've given Natalie a song. So I want a song which is Matt's.
You want one for me as
And what I will
well?
do with Matt's song is I will play Matt's song before the interview, and then we will go from that into that song.
Okay, fab. So the one for Matt, I mean, I listen to loads of Richard Dawson. So when I'm driving around in the van on my tours, if I want to sing along to myself in the van, the one I always go back to is Jogging by Richard Dawson.
So
Uh,
that is the song that you've heard before this interview started, people. Okay.
Fantastic.
You're welcome. Right, so thank you very much. All there is to do is for you to introduce Natalie's song because it's not yours, it's Natalie's. Introduce Natalie's song and say back to the studio.
Come along to Fixin' at ARC on March the 7th. Natalie will be there to help you fix your cars and yourselves. It's holistic car care, going on a journey together. And Natalie would like to play you out with Brand New Cadillac by Vince Taylor and his Playboys. Bye bye, back to the studio.